Good evening, I hope you had a fantastic Saturday. Once again, London witnessed massive protests, and once more, the Palestinian flag was visible to everyone. I've mentioned before how the political climate of other nations has become quite prominent on our streets. However, I must admit what surprised me in many ways was seeing demonstrators like LGBT Jews for a free Palestine. It made me wonder if those advocating for LGBTQ rights genuinely understand what happens in Gaza and in many neighboring countries. It seems akin to a bird praying for Christmas. Speaking of prayer, on Saturday night in Whitehall, near 10 Downing Street, we saw a different kind of scene. Part of our national monument, dedicated to the victims of the two world wars, was used as the backdrop for a public prayer. It was something I never thought I would see in my own country. Nigel Farage has issued a stark warning that the growing frequency of demonstrations with foreign affiliations signals a change in Britain's political and cultural landscape, challenging the unity of the nation. For Farage, these shows of support for causes like Palestinian nationalism not only muddle the UK's foreign policy stance but also raise important questions about conflicting allegiances within the country. He argues that this goes to the heart of Britain's identity as a multicultural society, where shared values are under increasing pressure. Farage criticizes decades of immigration policies that, in his view, allowed communities from vastly different cultural backgrounds to settle in the UK without prioritizing integration. The result, he believes, is the rise of distinct subcultures that run counter to British society, creating division and, at times, hostility towards national values. Religious customs, such as the Islamic call to prayer, are becoming a part of these protests, and Farage claims that this highlights diverging norms that can feel contentious or exclusionary in a country with predominantly Christian or secular traditions in public spaces. He questions whether these displays challenge the balance between religious freedom and maintaining a unified public identity.
Starmer emphasized the need to prioritize those in greatest need, framing the cuts as a difficult but necessary choice in the current economic climate. However, for many, these explanations rang hollow, further widening the divide between Labour and its traditional supporters. Behind the scenes, tensions were rising within the Labour Party. Some MPs voiced concerns more openly, fearing that under Starmer's centrist leadership, the party was drifting away from its core principles. There were even whispers of a potential leadership challenge, though no one had yet stepped forward to take him on directly. The backlash in Doncaster wasn't just about policy. It reflected a broader dissatisfaction with the direction in which Starmer was leading the party. His cautious, centrist approach seemed to alienate the very voters Labour had once counted on. Meanwhile, the Conservative Party seized the moment, using the Doncaster incident to criticise Labour's policies and portray Starmer as out of touch with the struggles of ordinary Britons. In the weeks following the event, Starmer's team scrambled to regain control of the narrative. They worked hard to show a more compassionate side of the Labour leader, but for many, the damage had been done. Restoring trust with disenchanted voters would require more than just policy changes or public apologies. It would demand a fundamental shift in approach and a renewed connection with the people Labour claimed to represent. The events at Doncaster marked a turning point, highlighting the growing tension between Labour's leadership and its base. As Starmer faced the challenge of proving he could not only lead but also understand the struggles of those most affected by his party's decisions, the dispute over the winter fuel cuts became a symbol of a much larger problem.